You may be asking yourself, why am I able to file bankruptcy? Now, this question usually doesn't come up till much later on after you've asked questions like, how am I going to be able to pay this debt back? Or how do I stop my creditors from calling? Or how am I going to survive with this garnishee on my wage? Eventually, what you do is you start saying, well, what is bankruptcy? And when you find that out, you say, how do I go bankrupt? Now, there's numerous videos on that we've done that talk about bankruptcy, and you can certainly contact our office. The number's here on the screen, and talk to any one of our support staff, or email us, or visit our website. Bankruptcy is, of course, the last option. There's a consumer proposal that we're able to help a lot of folks with, and that's a great option to settle your creditors with your debts, and that does stop all of the calls, and it stops garnishees and all that, and you would need someone like us to assist you with that. But this video isn't so much about what your options are. Really what this video is about is kind of talking about why those options are there in the first place. Now, you may not be interested in this right now if you're not actually in a state of bankruptcy or you haven't filed a proposal yet. But once something like this is filed, we often start thinking about, well, why am I able to do this? And I thought this would be a good opportunity to kind of discuss sort of the principles that are behind this insolvency law. Insolvency means an inability to pay your debts as they become due. And of course, when we have someone that can't pay their debts, the creditor simply can't just walk away, because what it can encourage, unfortunately, is other people that have the ability to pay their debts to simply not pay their debts. So what they have is they have a trustee that will help you either file into bankruptcy or, as I said, file a consumer proposal. Now, regardless of which option is chosen by the individual, the principles remain the same. And there's essentially four principles. The first principle being the rehabilitation of the debtor. So part of that rehabilitation starts with stopping all of the creditor's actions and getting the stress off your back. During either a bankruptcy or a proposal, there's a couple counseling sessions that you would go to with one of our financial counselors, and they would help you kind of recognize how you got in the situation. They'd want to talk to you about money management and consumption habits and the warning signs of financial difficulty and credit usage. And it's important to understand these counseling sessions aren't they're not designed to make you feel bad or to explore your childhood or any sort of things like that. It's actually just to help you recognize how you've made choices and the choices that you're making now to help you get in a better place going forward for your rehabilitation. Now, the second principle that's involved is the principle that all creditors should be treated equally. And how they're treated equally is that they would all get the same what are called dividends, so the same amount of money. So that way you're not favoring one creditor over another. How that would happen is the trustee would take possession of certain assets that are considered non-exempt, and they would give those monies, sell them and give the monies to the creditors. Or in the case of a consumer proposal, because the assets don't get sold, you actually just make payments to the trustee. The trustee equally distributes the money to the creditors. Now, the third principle that is involved is the investigation, right? So one of the things that you would have to do when you look at any type of restructuring is you'd have to create it's called a statement of affairs. And what that is it lists the things that you own and the people that you owe. And it also talks about what's gone on, right? So have you given things away, or have you had to redeem RRSPs to survive, and things like that. And the trustee would investigate that. That way, if something has been done that's inappropriate or dishonest, the trustee can say to the creditors, this is what's happened, and of course to the individual as well, and say, hey, we need to make this right. Or if it just the trustee can investigate, so they can say to the creditors, we've looked at this and this is the reasonings of why this has happened, so that the creditors are able to feel comforted that there is some investigation going on, and they are getting treated fairly, just as you are, because that's what the role of the trustee is to do, is to make sure everyone is treated fairly. And that's actually kind of ties into the fourth principle, and that fourth principle is, of course, promoting faith within the system itself. And the idea behind that is, if you can't pay your debts, that you're able to have a mechanism which which you can access to be able to be restructured so you and your family can move forward. And as well, if you're not paying your debts, there's a mechanism where the creditor can bring a trustee in, and the trustee can take control of the assets and make sure that you're not dissipating them and giving them away. So kind of very complex ideas here, and you don't really need to understand these in order to look at a restructuring. We share this just so you get a little idea of some of the reasonings behind this. Certainly feel free to give my office a call and speak with one of the support staff, and they can talk to you about this and talk how these specific principles will impact you in your personal situation.